we are on.
Welcome to the Harshie Podcast with your host, January.
And Brandon.
Did your voice crack?
Go through puberty.
That's how we're starting this one? That's how this is going to go? Okay.
Well, yeah, bedtime is an asshole.
Bedtime is an asshole.
And I'm tired and delirious, and that's how we're starting it.
That's what we get for recording a podcast after doing the
bedtime.
Children's bedtime.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've shared about bedtime being an asshole quite a few times. And on one post, I was reading back on it before we sat down to record this. And I put on it, one of these days, they'll put themselves to bed and I'll miss it so much. Just kidding. I'll watch all of the Orange is the New Black when it comes out, uninterrupted, in a clean house while eating vegan sushi, and won't have to share anything. I'll say to Brandon, remember when we had to do bedtime? To which he'll reply, yeah, that was bullshit. And we'll laugh and laugh because we'll be happy we don't have to do it. And then we'll get to sleep too. One day. Solidarity, friends.
Bullshit is the key word. God, bedtime is horrible.
I think the main reason why I wanted to talk about this on a podcast episode is so other parents could feel solidarity and know that they are not the only ones that struggle with bedtime. You know, you've had a long day with the kids, no matter what your schedule or how many kids looks like. 1 kid, 2 kid, 6 like us. They go to school, they don't go to school, they're home, they're not. You work out of the home, you work in the home, you're a stay-at-home parent, whatever it is. By the end of the day, it's been a long day. You've put in 12, 14 hours, you're exhausted, and you just need to rest yourself. But then you have to do like this whole nighttime, bedtime routine, whatever, again, that looks like for your family. And it's like another part-time side job.
Full-time side job.
It's like that side job that you have to take, but you don't want to take, and you wish you could call in, but you can't. Because if you don't do it, then you're just screwed. So and real quick, if you are the parent of one child who goes to bed beautifully and peacefully like some little Disney princess baby, and you just are sitting there like, wow, I don't know what you guys are doing wrong. You are a Susan. And this and this is not for you. That is fantastic. Like, honestly, that is great. And 1 out of 6 of our babies actually went to bed and slept like that. And now he's the bull in our hardest kid. But
yeah.
And I really needed that at the time. And it is beautiful, magical amazingness when that happens. But most of the time, that is not what happens. And something that's not talked about a lot is that nighttime parenting is a thing. You don't just get to clock out. Parents do not get to clock out. We parent 24/7. So you're already tired and you can't do your evening or your night or your sleep, anything the way you used to. And for the assholes out there who are like, yeah, but this is what you wanted. Yeah, thanks, asshole. But you know what? It doesn't change the fact that I'm fucking exhausted and my kid won't sleep worth shit. You know, so when we get pregnant and we decide to have babies, it's not like we get to pick and choose from a list like, oh, this one's a good sleeper and this one doesn't cry and whine. This one doesn't throw themselves down in the middle of the grocery store and make me look like an asshole parent. No, we don't get to pick and choose pieces and parts of our babies. So even if we want to be parents and we wanted this, we still get to say this is hard and this sucks, and bedtime is one of those things.
Oh, absolutely. And it's there's so much that goes into bedtime because you have to wind down. You get them a bath, get their clothes changed. You got to read them books most of the time. And we're talking about toddlers here when they're a little bit older, 4 or 5 years old. You don't have to do so much of that stuff, but you still have to do a bedtime routine. But with toddlers, you're reading them books, and then you got to lay them down. And then it takes them a while to fall asleep, and they're sitting there talking to you or goofing off, and you got to kind of prod them to go to sleep. And my thing is I always tell them to turn over. I remember my mom telling me that, and I tell all the kids that, or I have told all the kids that, and it works. Especially with the bowl and beard baby, I just tell them to turn over, and they turn around, and next thing I know, they're asleep after they've been yammering for about 20 minutes. It's like, oh. Mm-hmm. But it's a whole ordeal. And then when they're about 6 months to 10 months, you got teething. And so you're dealing with that for any number of weeks, months. In our case, it was a year with a beard baby. Good God. Our worst teether had to be our last one when we were the most fed up with it and done with it.
I have a question.
Sure.
Who the fuck said you have to read books to kids before they go to bed?
Well, I'm just generalizing.
But
I don't.
It's a thing.
We have the older kids read Beard Baby the books now. I'm too old for that shit.
But like, who came up with this bedtime routine where reading books is part of it? Because I've been reading books to my kids all day long. You go to Storytime at the library, which that's a whole event in itself. Like, we should get gold star stickers for getting through story time with a kid and a baby in tow. Oh my gosh. And then it's like at the end of the night when you're exhausted, you're supposed to sit there and want to read One Fish, Two Fish again. Like, we're vegan. We don't do these to the fish. We leave the fish in the sea. The end. Go to bed.
One fish, two fish. Fuck you, fish.
We probably should have done
I'm leaving.
We probably should have done a Skittle Ranty disclaimer on this one. This one's going to be Skittle Ranty.
It's Skittle Ranty for me.
Yeah, it is. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're going to have to go check out my Instagram. But apparently we are a little Skittle Ranty sometimes. And that's all right with me. Skittle Ranty gang. So, there's no way we can talk about bedtime not being a little Skittle Ranty. So.
No, not at all. I mean, bedtime is just terrible. It's hard. And and then also, you don't ever hear anyone talk about this, but what about growing pains?
Oh,
when kids have growing pains.
The bull's almost 7 and he still wakes up with growing pains.
Yeah. And a lot of the time, what I have noticed being a chiropractor is a lot of times their pelvis is misaligned, their pelvis or sacrum. And so I'll give them an adjustment and it'll help with the growing pains, but that takes a little bit of time for the body to kind of settle in. So you're looking 5, 10, 15 minutes and they're still in pain. And I'm half asleep trying to give this adjustment, like, hold still. And it's
and then I usually rub them down with like Deep Blue from doTERRA, which you have to make sure you wash your hands. You don't like rub your eyes as you're stumbling back to bed, and then you like have an eye burn going on. But rubbing down their legs for 10 minutes, getting them back to sleep as well. I mean, it's bad. And I remember when I was a kid, one night my mom had made chili for dinner.
Oh, God.
And you know what? I mean, I don't even think I need to continue.
Yeah, no, I mean, your mom and chili in the same sentence. I know where that's going.
My mom made chili for dinner and I went to bed that night and I'm sure it took forever for my parents to get us 4 kids in bed. And then, I'm the oldest of 6, but it was 4 kids at the time. And I woke up in the middle of the night to go pee and I sat down to pee. And as I was sitting there in the toilet, I just opened my mouth and vomited.
Oh my God.
Chunks of chili all over the bathroom floor. So there's pee coming out one end of me and chili coming out of the other end. And I think I just started crying because you're peeing and you're gagging and you're choking all at the same time.
Oh my God.
And you know what? My dad had to clean that up.
Oh.
Yeah, he had to clean that up. I'm going to call my dad tonight and just tell him I love him. Because that's nasty. Oh my goodness. Nighttime parenting is a thing. You can't just put your kids in a crib or a bed and then just walk away for 12 hours. It doesn't work that way. And we all learn that pretty quick when we become parents. And, the other thing too about bedtime and sleeping arrangements is, along with the whole reading books, which I didn't know was a trigger for me, but is these kind of expectations of how and where everyone sleeps. This probably has come from TV shows growing up, and everyone, should be in their own room in their own little twin beds and sleeping on their own. And we need all these products and all this stuff, right? And most of the time when you're a new parent with a baby and a toddler, you are so exhausted that if the toddler falls asleep in your bed and that's how they'll stay asleep, like you don't change that. Like, and we'll get pressure put on us from people. Your baby is not sleeping through the night, or your baby still sleeps in your room, or your toddler's in your bed. It's like, yes, Linda, yes. Unless you want to come to my house and put my kids to bed and then get up with them every time they wake up and feed the baby for me and get it back to sleep and get the toddler water or help them wipe in the bathroom or take care of the sunburn they got when we're at the splash pad because I'm a bad mom and didn't put on sunscreen, don't say shit. Like, your opinion doesn't matter. When people are not coming to your home and helping you, even if they are, they should just keep their mouth shut and help. But if they're not coming to your house and helping you sleep, they should not be giving any sideways glances, opinions, criticisms, nothing. I don't care if it's your best friend, your mother-in-law, or the stranger at Target. Unless, literally look at them, be like, are you going to come over and help me sleep? No. End of conversation. Walking away now. January out.
Mic drop.
So we've always done where, how everyone gets the best sleep, that's what we do. And this changes often. I mean, we were 8 people.
Yeah.
So, I remember when our third was born, when she woke up at night to nurse, she woke up loud. She woke up screaming. This is Miss New York. She woke up crying. Oh, yeah. And then that would wake up you. And then our older 2 kids, and they weren't that old. They were 4 and 2.
Yeah.
They were asking to co-sleep again. So you were co-sleeping with them, and then I co-slept in the other room for a few months with the baby because there was no point in her waking up you guys when all she wanted was to nurse with me. So you didn't need to be woken up double. I didn't need to be woken up double by the other kids if they needed something. So it's gonna change often, and it depends on your baby. It depends on your other kids. It depends on your family routine and your sleeping patterns. But however anybody in your family sleeps best, do that. Look up. If you co-sleep or you're bed sharing, look up safe co-sleeping and safe bed sharing. Go to kellymom.com. They have great articles. Dr. Sears has great articles. And look up how to do it, safely in your home, whatever your comfort is. If, you're more comfortable not co-sleeping and bed sharing, then, look up different tips for that. The only book I ever read on sleeping that helped me was The No Cry Sleep Solution by, I think it's Elizabeth Pantley. I'm not sure if I said that right. And that's the thing I took from it the most. However anyone's sleeping, your kid needs to sleep on the couch with your 3 dogs and 10 pacifiers, but they sleep through the night and they're safe. You do. Okay. Who told you how to look different, right? Bedtime and parenting is already a lot of work.
Yeah.
So don't make it harder on yourself to try to live up to some expectation that probably isn't even your own expectation. And then if it is your own expectation, it's time to shift that expectation for what your family's situation actually looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't sleep in the same bed for about 3 years because I was co-sleeping with all the kids. Yeah.
Wow.
No, I mean, we were still having plenty of sex.
Oh yeah, no. I don't understand.
More kids come along. But.
I don't understand why people think that co-sleeping or bed sharing means no intimacy. That's literally where everyone's just sleeping. Like, you can't have sex while you're sleeping. So it doesn't have to be in the same place. I mean, I wish we could.
No.
But, it's not going to happen in the same place. So that's just such a weird, not only misconception, but hang up. Be intimate in different ways and however make you and your partner or spouse happy, and then sleep in ways where everyone gets sleep. They're not one of this. They're 2 different things. So look at them from 2 different points of view and conversation and separate items.
Yeah. When I was in chiropractic school, once Miss New York was old enough to where you needed her out of the room so you could get some rest, I would lay her down on the bottom bunk of the bunk bed. It was a futon bed on the bottom.
That's right. I have pictures.
Right, and Junior was in his race car bed, and the teenager was on the top bunk. And for a long time, I actually slept in an air mattress on the floor in front of the door, so that I'd be able to head off any one of them at the pass if
did
they
you
tried
really?
to
I don't
make
remember
a break.
that.
Yeah.
You really did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
I couldn't sleep on an air mattress.
This is when I was
that
pregnant with Miss Cuttlebug.
Yeah. But somehow I was able to sleep on an air mattress. But when you're having to study and
You pass
get up early.
out.
Yeah, I was just so tired all the time.
I moved myself to the couch because what it was is Miss New York wanted to nurse all through the night, and I was pregnant and I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
So the only way to night wean her was to remove myself from the room, and then you took over nighttime. People have asked me, like, how do you wean your kids at night? And that's how. And I know not everybody has a partner or a spouse that's willing to do that. But for me, I would just have to remove myself from the situation. I'll let you to handle. Because if you're comforting them back to sleep, there's no breast milk or breast. So they're, dads find their own way, and it's okay for you dads that are listening, for you to find your own way with nighttime parenting. And it's okay for you moms listening to allow and give space for dad to help with nighttime parenting so that you can get rest too. I mean, there's, in the families that are listening where there's two parents, use that for your advantage. I'm sure there's lots of single parents that would love to have a partner or a spouse to help with that nighttime parenting and, use that help. And so that's what I did. I was like, you know what, if I remove the breasts and there's no breasts, guess what? You guys will find a way, hold her, rock her, whatever, whatever baby it was, to get them back asleep. So that's really how they weaned. My ones that nursed the longest, that's how they weaned at night, was I removed myself from the bed for a while until they got, used to not having it available. Yeah,
that's what we did with Miss Cuddlebug when she got old enough. I laid her down in the same bed as Miss New York. I slept in the middle, and they were on either side of me.
And it's so funny because with our first, you refused to co-sleep.
Oh, yeah.
You wanted her out of our bed. Like, you didn't want anything to do with it. And by our third, you were the one that was co-sleeping.
Well, I still had that old school, like, archaic thinking where it's like, baby has to be in the crib and et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, by the time baby number 3 came around and we figured out a different way to do it, we were all sleeping. It's like you said, who cares like what the positioning is or what the room assignments are. Right. We just need to get sleep.
We still change rooms and stuff all the time.
We have changed rooms, like 5 or 6 times in the past 2 years?
Yes. Because every child is hitting a different season, and the dynamics just work out differently, and however it makes everybody happiest, we do that even if it changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no problem with that whatsoever. I really don't. Changing around.
Well, yeah, because things will be good for a few months, and then one kid will shift, and it's typically either the bull or beer baby. And so then we're changing things up to see what works, what doesn't. And we're going to change things up again here probably pretty soon. So it's just it's the way it is when you have a horde of kids like we do.
Bedtime is going to be just as unique to each individual child as to the family, and that's going to change over time too. But something that I learned in my earlier motherhood days was with my older 2, I always wanted them to nap at the same time and go to bed at the same time. And by the end of the day, I was just done because you had been in grad school and then I had been with them all day and I just wanted them in bed. And this was before kid 3, where you became a lot more humbled and calmer and helped a lot more with those kind of things.
Yeah.
And so I'd be doing bedtime and I would just get so frustrated. And I remember one time sitting there just getting so ticked that my 3-year-old and like 18-month-old wouldn't just go to sleep on their own easily, which now I roll my eyes at myself because they're 3 and 18 months.
Yeah.
Or, close to 2. And I realized one night I was getting frustrated with them. And I realized, if I just lay down in bed with them for about 15 or 20 minutes, they'll fall asleep. They'll feel comforted and loved and safe. I won't be getting frustrated with them. And whatever it is I'm wanting to do can wait 20 minutes. And any frustrations I've had during the day or hard times we had during the day will just be washed away by us laying here, holding each other, cuddling, me just being present for them. And everyone will just feel safe and loved. And there's no frustration. So why was I trying to force them to sleep on their own when I'm just sitting outside the door irritated anyways, when I could just go in and lay down with them for 15 or 20 minutes and they fall asleep? And I've just kept that lesson with me since then. That was like 10 years ago. And it's understandable. We get really tired and really frustrated and really burned out. So we have to fill our cup in other ways sometimes throughout the days and the weeks, so that in those moments we can kind of check ourselves and step back and be like, what am I forcing? I'm forcing something. What if I just do it the opposite way? What if I just do it the way the kids are telling me they need it, actually?
Yeah.
And the thing to remember too, it's so hard during that season of babyhood and they're waking up often to nurse or have a bottle because their bellies are tiny or they're teething, or they just don't, you have one that just doesn't like to sleep, or even if you have one that does love to sleep and then all of a sudden they become a toddler and they don't like to anymore, or whatever it is. Yeah, I just would remind myself, they're going to turn 5 at some point or whatever, and they're going to sleep in their own beds. They're going to get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, get a kiss, good night. I'll tuck them in, give them kisses, answer their questions, tell them I love them, and they're going to go to bed. And, unless they have like a nightmare or they're sick or whatever, they're going to sleep, and I'll just try my best to be patient for that, at some point.
Yeah. With, the Bull and Beard Baby, I'll listen to podcasts, or sometimes I'll bring in a candle, one of those electronic candles, battery operated candles, and read, or I'll just do something like that, because they can take a while to fall asleep.
Yeah,
hit and miss.
Side note, all our kids have the battery operated, they look like candles.
Mm-hmm.
And they all have those in the room so they can like read for a few minutes or a little bit to kind of wind down. See? They read to themselves eventually, you guys. They do. They read to themselves. So maybe I should take back what I said and read to your damn kids at night before they can read. And then they'll eventually read to themselves. And then you'll feel like a really good mom or dad.
Teach them something good or some shit.
What's really funny is that we're sitting here complaining about it, but as we're talking about how we do it, like we really do give the time and the attention and the love through bedtime. And that's why it's so exhausting, because instead of just getting frustrated and getting angry or having them do it by themselves when they're not ready, we do take the time or the couple hours. For us now, it spreads over a few hours because we have different age children. So we kind of go 2, 2, and 2, getting them to bed.
Yeah.
The younger 2, the middle 2, the older 2. And it's a few hours, and it's frazzling because we do care so much, and because we do give so much, and because we do take the time to give them all the attention and the love that they need during those hours.
Well, yeah, the younger 2 usually lay down around 7:30ish. Mm-hmm. Then the next 2 around 8:30ish, and then the older 2, 10 is early for them. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it gets...
We try to say 9:30, but it doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, But
they're homeschooled, and they don't have to get up early for school. So that's why we're more flexible with their bedtime.
Yeah, and if we're Jones and they hang out, we just send them away to their room.
Oh, the older 2? Yeah,
like
they'll go read.
You can read in your bed. Use your candle.
Yeah. Leave
us alone.
They'll go read or, watch a show somewhere else or something. But yeah, I mean, once we get the younger 2 in bed, we see the light at the end of the tunnel with the older 4. We're like, okay, when the younger 2 are this age, this is how it's going to be just for all our kids now.
And then also too, sometimes you have to factor in naps, because the younger 2, they wake up so early. They wake up at the ass crack of dawn, it feels like, and wake up everybody. Once in a while, they'll sleep in late, but that's very rare. That's maybe once every few months. But sometimes they'll wake up too early and we have to lay them down for naps. So if they lay down for nap, then they're going to bed a little bit later, and that throws off everyone else's sleep pattern. So it's right now our sleep in our family seems to be dominated by these younger 2 and their schedule. And it gets like that sometimes.
That's why people say to me, oh, I only have 2 kids and you have 6. It's like, oh, no. Drop the only, because it depends a lot on their ages and their personalities, because our younger 2 are way harder than our older 4.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, because of their ages and their personalities. Like that's just the way it is. So
if our younger 2 were our only 2, I would still be like, what the hell? Like what is going on with these 2?
Yeah, but they're not. It's
like
so
they're
different.
insane.
It really is different. So those of you that only have younger children, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. They do.
Yeah.
It does get calmer and better and easier. But yeah, it's just, I think that it's a universal parenting solidarity that needs to happen with bedtime, because I think so many of us we go through what's called the witching hours from like 3 to 6 or 3 to 7, and then we do dinner and we start the bedtime routine, but then there's a few more. I mean, it can take hours before you're getting your kids in bed, and you're just so exhausted, and then you sit down and you're like, I just want to do something as an adult. I just want to watch my show or have a drink or do whatever, but you're tired and you need sleep. And so it's that constant, like, what do I do? It's a conundrum. Like, do I get the sleep I know I need because sleep is self-care? Or do I take some adult time to myself because that's self-care and I need that too, so I'm not so frazzled tomorrow when I do it all over again? And that's something you have to evaluate each night as a parent. I've gone through seasons of both. Actually, even just the last few weeks, I'm staying up, I'm watching some shows and movies because I didn't all year last year. I was so busy. And then after about a month of that, it's like, okay, now I'm choosing to not do that and to go to my room and read or hang out with you and a lot earlier because I need sleep because I was feeling the sleep deprivation. It was affecting my health. We just want you guys to feel the solidarity that you are not the only one that is going through these struggles. Mom or dad, whoever's listening, we all go through it. And as soon as you have it figured out, it will change.
Oh, yeah. It always
and
does.
why that's not comforting, it's good to know that, oh, that's not just us that happens to. Absolutely not. And if you're feeling any pressure on anyone to change things, how they are working for you guys, if you guys are sleeping soundly, safely, happily, do not take on that other person's expectation or judgment. You do what works best for your family.
Absolutely.
And one day they will be grown and you will get sleep. And then your grandkids will be like, gosh, grandma, grandpa, you guys are so cool and so fun and so high energy. And you're going to look at them and say, yeah, because I'm not your parent.
And then our kids will be like, I don't understand. Like, you weren't like this when we were younger.
Yeah.
Like, no, we weren't. Because we were your parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you were assholes.
Totally sleep deprived. Okay, well, I hope that you guys felt some solidarity in this and that you're not the only ones, and we love you guys. And before I get off real quick, I just want to say I'm going to be in Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville. Dang it. I'm going to have to ask everybody when I'm there to say it over and over again. This weekend, there's still...
I've since learned it is Louisville.
Okay, Louisville, Kentucky.
Pretty positive, but maybe someone will tell you different when you're there. Right. I don't know.
It's like hurricane versus hurricane, Utah.
Yeah,
like,
in Utah, the Mormons call it hurricane.
Hurricane. No, they just call it hurricane. Whoever everybody lives there, it's hurricane.
Yeah, well, everyone lives there is Mormon.
That's true. So that really was a true statement.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyways, I'll be there this weekend. There's still tickets available. And the How to Do You Boo events are coming up soon. And I'm so excited about these because they're all about self-care, self-love. If you're a business owner, we'll be talking about that stuff. And they're in Minneapolis, Detroit, Dallas, and Philly.
Yeah.
And there's only 20 tickets for each of those. And you can DM me on Instagram for a discount code for that. But those are coming up soon. And I'm just so excited about those. And I did the first Birth of That Fear webinar. And it was actually really fun.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I connected with some women and it was the quickest 3 hours ever. And so the postpartum one is coming up next month. And the self-love and self-care webinar is coming up
in May.
Cinco de Mayo. That one's the one that's filling up the most. So anyways, all this can be found on bwfconference.com. Connect with me in any of these ways if you can, because next year I'm changing it up completely. And I can't wait to share more about that. So
next year's going to be fun.
All right, you guys. Until next time, love ya.
Adios.